The storm hit Sebrook Harbor hard, the kind of rain that made the streets disappear under gray water, and the wind whipped the signs and shutters until they rattled like they might fly off. I was gripping the wheel of my old pickup so tight my knuckles ached. Noah, my 7-year-old, was snuggled in his hoodie beside me, half asleep after a long day. I just wanted to get home, make some soup, and let the night wash over us quietly. Then, under the flickering light of a street lamp, I saw her. At first, I thought it was trash caught in the wind, a bundle of rags tossed aside. But then she moved. A little girl, maybe 7 or 8, standing alone, arms wrapped around herself, hair plastered to her wet cheeks. My chest tightened. I slammed the brakes and jumped out of the truck before my mind could catch up. Rain hit me like knives, soaking me through my flannel shirt. "Stay here, buddy," I whispered to Noah, though my voice was shaking. I crouched down, trying to look smaller, softer. "Hey there, what are you doing out here all alone?" She didn't answer. She just stared at me with wide green eyes, scared and wet and fragile. Thunder rolled overhead and she flinched. I stepped closer, careful not to frighten her more. "You're freezing," I said, more to myself than to her. Slowly, I reached out. Her tiny, ice-cold fingers slid into my hand. I lifted her into my arms. She pressed her face against my chest like she had been waiting for someone to do just that. Back at the truck, Noah leaned forward from his seat. "Dad, who is she?" "I don't know yet," I said, voice steady but heavy. "But she's safe now." I wrapped her in an old sweatshirt we had in the truck, letting her cling to it as if it was the only thing keeping her from vanishing. Her body fit in my arms like she belonged there. The heater cranked up, fogged windows keeping us safe in our little bubble against the storm. My mind raced. Who left her out here? Why? By the time we got home, the storm had eased a bit. I carried her inside, smelling wood smoke and cinnamon from our small cedar cabin. Noah rushed over with a towel and an oversized sweatshirt. I slipped it over her soaked dress. She shivered once, then sighed, letting a tiny smile slip through. "Do you have a name, sweetheart?" I asked gently. "Lee," she whispered. "That's beautiful," I said. Noah peeked at her, curious. "Where's your house?" he asked. She twisted her fingers in the sleeves of the sweatshirt. "A car," she said quietly. My jaw tightened. That wasn't much, but it was something. Someone should have been looking for her. Someone should have been calling her name. Later, after tucking her into Noah's old bed, I called Sheriff Morales. He checked, but no missing child matched her description. Not here, not nearby, nothing. I frowned, a cold feeling in my stomach. Something about this didn't feel right. A child this young didn't just appear out of nowhere in the storm. The next morning, I went out to the porch with my coffee. The quiet after the storm didn't feel calm. Something was off. And then I saw headlights in the distance. A sleek black sedan pulled up. A man stepped out, tall, sharp, dressed like he owned the night. His eyes scanned the house before he spoke. "Evening. I'm looking for a little girl, very important to her family." I gripped the baseball bat I kept by the door. "Can't say I've seen anyone like that." He smiled, polite but wrong. He left a card on my truck hood. "Call me if you see her. It'll be better for everyone." I watched him drive off, a chill running down my spine. He wasn't here to save her. He was here to take her. And I knew one thing. He would be back. That night, Lee, that was her name, slept curled on the couch, Noah beside her, showing her a comic book. I stayed by the window, watching the road. Whoever sent that man would try again. Whoever had left her in the storm would come for her, and I wouldn't let them. I didn't know her story yet. I didn't know who her mother was or why she had been left alone in the rain. But I did know this. She trusted me, and that trust was something I could not give up, not for anyone. The storm had passed, but I knew it wasn't over. Not yet. Morning came, gray and wet, the aftermath of the storm still hanging heavy over Sebrook Harbor. Lily stayed curled under the oversized sweatshirt on the couch, soft breaths rising and falling, her green eyes slowly blinking open as sunlight hit the window. Noah was already awake, bouncing quietly on the edge of the couch beside her, trying not to wake her too roughly. I poured coffee into my chipped mug, hands still trembling a little from the night before. I watched Lily sip her cocoa slowly, unsure of her surroundings. She glanced at me, then at Noah, then back at me again. There was something in her eyes, a cautious hope, the kind only a child who's been let down too many times could carry. My chest tightened. I didn't know where she had come from, who she belonged to, or why she had been left in the storm, but I knew one thing. She wasn't going back out there alone. The phone rang, cutting through the morning silence. I grabbed it, expecting Sheriff Morales, but instead, a woman's voice, sharp, panicked, and familiar, came through. "Where is she? My daughter!" The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Her voice. It was impossible. I froze for a second, trying to steady myself. "Who is this?" I asked, voice low. I'm her mother," she said, trembling. Victoria Hale. She's my daughter. Please, tell me you have her." Lily's tiny hand squeezed the sleeve of the sweatshirt tighter. She didn't move, just looked at me like she was waiting for permission. My mind raced. The mother? This little girl had been through something terrible. I could feel it in her quiet, in her hesitation. I had saved her from the storm, but had I saved her from the life she had been running from? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I glanced at Lily, who was now staring at me, green eyes wide, innocent but wary. My voice finally came out steady. "She's safe, but she's scared. She's been through a lot. You need to understand that before you come here." Victoria's voice shook on the other end. I know. Please, I'll explain everything. Just let me see her." I didn't trust her yet, not completely. There was too much fear in Lily's eyes, and the instincts I had honed as a father kicked in. I had no idea what her mother had faced, or what she had been trying to protect her from, but I wasn't handing over this little girl to anyone who might scare her again. Then headlights appeared outside. A sleek black sedan. My chest tightened. Last night's visitor. I glanced at Lily, and she flinched slightly, as if she knew danger when she saw it. My hands went to the baseball bat again, heart thudding. Whoever was coming, they weren't coming to bring her home safely. The doorbell rang, sharp, demanding. I opened the door a crack. Victoria was there, soaked from the rain, hair plastered to her face, eyes wild and desperate. "Lily!" she cried, reaching out. Lily didn't move. Her small body stayed pressed to the couch, eyes flicking between me and her mother. For the first time, I understood the depth of the bond that had formed in the few hours she had known me. She trusted me. Not yet her mother. Not yet. Victoria's eyes filled with tears, voice trembling. "She's safe now. You can trust me. Please, she's my daughter." I took a deep breath, keeping my voice calm, steady, protective. "I know she's your daughter, but right now she's scared, and she's not ready. Not yet. If you want her safe, we have to do this together." Victoria's face softened slightly, relief mingling with fear. "Yes, together. I understand." I stepped aside, letting her in. Lily's tiny hand hesitated before reaching out to touch both of us at once. A simple gesture, but it told me everything. She wasn't just afraid of the storm. She was afraid of being taken away from safety. And right now, safety meant staying with me. We packed a few things quietly. Victoria moved with care, aware of every noise. Outside, the engines of SUVs hummed in the distance. Richard Hale's men were looking for them, for Lily. My jaw tightened. Whoever her father was, he wasn't going to give up easily. I carried Lily to the truck, keeping a careful eye on the road. Victoria climbed in beside me, gripping a bag tightly, her jaw set, her eyes scanning the shadows. Noah sat in the back with Lily, quiet but alert, sensing the tension I felt in every muscle. The road twisted into the forest, gravel spitting beneath the tires. The headlights behind us were persistent, closing the distance. Victoria held Lily close, whispering soft reassurances. Lily buried her face in her mother's coat, small fingers gripping tight. I swore under my breath, hands locked on the wheel. "They're not giving up," I muttered. Victoria didn't look at me, but I could feel her resolve. She had survived the crash. She wasn't going to let her daughter be taken, and I wasn't about to let anyone take this child from me either. We drove through the night, past the cliffs and pine trees, until finally the cabin appeared ahead, tucked between the woods, weathered but still strong. A place untouched by her father, a place where Lily could finally feel safe. I cut the engine and looked at Victoria. "Stay here," I whispered. She nodded, eyes filled with trust, and together we got ready for whatever came next. Inside, Lily clung to both of us, hesitant but secure. The storm had passed, but the danger hadn't, and as I watched them, I realized this wasn't just about keeping a little girl safe. This was about protecting trust, protecting hope, and maybe, for the first time in years, building something real for all of us. The cabin loomed dark and quiet, but the air was heavy with tension. I carried Lily inside, holding her tight as Victoria followed with a bag. She looked exhausted, soaked, but determined. Her eyes scanned the shadows like she could see every danger before it arrived. I didn't know her yet, not fully, but I could see the fire in her, the fierce love for her daughter, and I knew that fire was the only thing that would keep Lily safe tonight. We moved quickly, checking the doors and windows. Everything had been left open from whoever had searched the place earlier. My gut twisted. Whoever came for Lily was methodical, calculated, dangerous. I made sure the door was locked, the old bolt sliding with a sharp click. Lily stayed close to Victoria, her little hand buried in her mother's coat. She peeked at me now and then, like she was trying to measure how much she could trust me. I gave her a small nod. Safe here. For now. That was all I could promise. "Mommy," Lily whispered, voice trembling. Why were they looking for me?" Victoria's jaw tightened. She knelt to Lily's level, wrapping her arms around her. "Because someone who shouldn't have power thinks he can control your life. But you're safe now, baby. Safe with us." I watched them. That bond forming in quiet fear and whispered reassurance was fragile but strong. Lily was starting to understand she wasn't alone. Not anymore. Then the distant hum of engines reached our ears. My stomach sank. They hadn't given up. I slipped my hand to the baseball bat I kept near the door, listening. Victoria stiffened beside me, eyes sharp. "They're here," she whispered. I glanced at her. "We can't stay. If they come inside—" My words trailed. The danger was real and fast. Victoria nodded, eyes locking with mine. "We have to go. Now." I scooped Lily into my arms again. She hugged me tightly, then peeked at her mother. "Mommy?" "I'm right here, baby," Victoria whispered. Her hands were steady as she packed the essentials, grabbing her coat, the burner phone, anything she could carry quietly. We slipped out the back door, moving toward the old Jeep Evelyn had left behind. The forest around us was thick, branches scraping against clothes, the moonlight casting long shadows that danced like ghosts. Every step felt like a risk, but the adrenaline kept us moving faster. I jumped into the driver's seat, Lily still in my arms. Victoria climbed in beside me, her eyes scanning the dark road ahead. She held the bag tightly, knuckles white. Noah climbed into the back with her, giving her a reassuring nod. I started the Jeep, tires spitting mud and gravel, and we were off. The narrow road twisted into the woods, darkness pressing in on every side. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Headlights followed, persistent, aggressive. Richard Hale's men weren't going to stop, not until they got Lily. Victoria held Lily close, whispering soft words, trying to mask her own fear. The little girl buried her face into her mother's coat, clinging tightly. I tightened the grip on the wheel. Whoever was behind us was ruthless, but I wasn't about to let them take her.
Branches and rocks flew past as I drove faster, twisting the Jeep through uneven paths. I could hear the engines behind us struggling to keep pace. The forest seemed endless, but I knew every turn, every tree. I knew these roads. It was my advantage. Victoria's voice broke through my focus. "Jack, they're everywhere. He's powerful, my father. They won't stop until they find us." I glanced at her. "Then we make sure they don't." The road narrowed further, the steep cliffs on one side, dense trees on the other. I could feel every bump, every rock under the tires. Behind us, an SUV clipped a tree, metal screeching. Another swerved wide, losing control. My pulse surged. We had a chance. Just a chance. Lily stirred in my arms, small fingers gripping my jacket. I glanced at her. "Almost there, kiddo. Almost safe." Victoria leaned closer, whispering to her daughter. "You're strong, Lily. Brave. We'll get through this." The headlights behind us flickered, slowed, then disappeared. I didn't exhale yet, not until we were completely out of reach. But for the first time that night, the immediate danger had eased. We drove on in silence, the hum of the Jeep the only sound, the forest gradually opening into the faint lights of the harbor town. Lily had fallen asleep, her tiny body curled against me. Victoria's hand rested on her back, steadying her, comforting her. I felt something shift then, something deeper than fear or danger. Watching them together, seeing the trust Lily had in me, the fierce love her mother carried, I realized this wasn't just about protection anymore. It was about family, about trust, about hope. We had survived the storm, but the real storm, the one that came from power, fear, and control, wasn't over yet. And I knew, deep in my chest, that we would face it together. Because Lily trusted me, and I wouldn't let anyone take that away.
The first light of dawn broke over Sebrook Harbor, pale and hesitant. The forest road opened into familiar streets, the town still quiet after the storm. I drove slowly now, eyes scanning every corner, every shadow. Lily slept against me, breathing soft and even, her tiny hands curled into my jacket. Victoria sat beside me, tired but alert, scanning the streets like a mother guarding her world. We reached the old shop I'd been fixing up, the one Noah and I called home. It wasn't much, but it was ours, a place no one would think to look, tucked behind faded walls and peeling paint. I parked the Jeep, keeping one eye on the street. Victoria gently lifted Lily from my arms, holding her close. The little girl stirred but didn't wake, comforted by her mother's warmth. Inside, the cabin-like shop smelled of wood and oil, familiar and grounding. I locked the doors behind us. Finally, a quiet moment. The storm outside had passed, but the tension lingered, like smoke in the air after a fire. Victoria knelt to Lily's level, brushing wet strands of hair from her face. "You're safe now, baby," she whispered, voice breaking slightly. "I promise, no one's taking you again." Lily blinked slowly, her small lips forming the faintest smile. I felt it too, a fragile peace settling in the room. Noah peeked out from behind the counter, eyes wide. "Can I read to her?" he asked softly. Lily nodded, still half asleep. He pulled a comic from the shelf, and together they sat on the couch. For a moment the world outside didn't exist. Victoria stood, glancing at me, a quiet understanding in her eyes. "Thank you," she said, almost too softly, "for everything." I shrugged, looking away, trying to hide the tug in my chest. "You don't know what she means to her, or to me," I admitted quietly. Her gaze lingered at me, searching, and for the first time since she arrived, there was no tension, no fear, just recognition. She had fought her father, survived the storm, and now, slowly, we were finding something else, trust, connection, maybe even something more. Lily's soft laughter broke the moment, pulling us both back. She was flipping through the comic, pointing out pictures, her tiny hands busy. Noah grinned, proud to share his favorite stories. I felt the warmth of it all, the fragile bond forming between us, unspoken but undeniable.
Victoria moved closer, standing beside me. "We've been through hell," she said softly, "but she's smiling. That's all that matters right now." I nodded, my gaze dropping to Lily. "Yeah, that's everything." We spent the day together quietly, the storm outside now only a memory. Lily clung to Victoria and Noah, still sneaking glances at me, like testing the limits of her new world. I knew she was healing, learning that trust could exist, that fear didn't have to rule her. By evening we stepped outside. The harbor glistened under the fading sun, waves rolling gently, gulls circling overhead. Lily skipped ahead, carefree, laughter spilling into the air. Victoria followed, hand in hand with her, a mother finally reunited with her child, but not without scars, not without the fight it took to get there. I watched them, the corners of my mouth lifting. For the first time in years, the chaos in my life, the storms, the danger, the unexpected weight of responsibility felt worth it. Lily's small hand waved at me, and she ran into Victoria's arms. Their smiles met mine, and something stirred deep inside me, a quiet hope I hadn't felt in a long time. Victoria caught my gaze, and I saw something shift in her expression. Gratitude, yes, but also connection. We had faced fear together, fought for her child and survived. And now, in this quiet harbor town, the possibility of something new stretched before us, fragile but undeniable. I stepped forward, brushing dirt from my hands. "You two ready to go inside?" I asked, voice light. Lily nodded, running ahead again. Victoria followed, smiling softly, letting me see the relief in her eyes. Inside, we settled into the warm, familiar space of the shop. Lily perched on the counter, comic in hand. Victoria sank into a chair, finally allowing herself to breathe. I leaned against the doorframe, watching them, safe, together. In that moment, I realized something I hadn't before. Life didn't always come in neat packages. Sometimes it was messy, terrifying, and unpredictable. But the beauty came from the choices we made, the people we protected, and the love that grew from shared struggle. Lily looked at me, bright eyes curious. "Can I start school now?" she asked. Her voice carried hope, innocence, and a belief that life could be good again. I crouched to meet her, smiling. "Yeah, kiddo, you're ready for school. Backpack, books, everything." She grinned, throwing her arms around me. "I knew it!" Victoria stepped closer, placing a hand on my shoulder, eyes soft. "Thank you," she said again, quietly, but it felt heavier this time. Not just for helping Lily, but for standing with us, for seeing her fear and protecting her. I nodded. We did it together. And for the first time in a long time, all three of us, mother, daughter, and the man who had risked everything to keep her safe, felt the quiet strength of home, trust, and the fragile beginnings of something more. The storm had passed, the danger had faded, at least for now, and in the heart of Sebrook Harbor, under the soft glow of evening light, we finally found what we had been searching for, each other. Lily laughed again, skipping across the floor, and I realized then that sometimes the smallest moments, holding a child close, seeing a smile, feeling trust, were the greatest victories of all.